Hello everyone, welcome to the energy update for December 2024. I am Lee, I'm an intuitive, and every month I take the pulse on what might be showing up for us energetically, emotionally, psychologically. Just a few of this month's themes. Are you going through upgrades, releases, or both at the same time? People have the power, and now is our time to remember that. And the purging of old energy and the rising of the birth of something new for 2025. Stay tuned for the full update. Hello everyone, welcome to the energy update for December. Cannot believe we're already at the end of the year, and what a month November was energetically. We'll get into all the themes in just a moment, but I wanted to share that we are bringing the Big Love Tour to Europe. So we'll be in London, Dublin, Amsterdam, Stockholm, and Berlin between January 3rd and January 12th. And this month we are opening booking for our Australia leg of the Big Love Tour. And we're also stopping off in Auckland, New Zealand. So if you can come to any of those events, we would love to see you. And if you're watching this at the very beginning of the month, we also have a special weekend event in Los Angeles on December 7th and 8th, weekend with Lee, the Z's, and Devore, which is also available as a live stream if you can't make it to be in the room. So check the links below or the events page at my website. But for now, let's take a look at some of the themes. There's a lot going on, and in a way, the themes for this month feel very much to do with our personal journey, very much to do with what might be moving through you, because these have certainly been faster than ever times when it comes to healing, release, and transformation. So, first theme of the month is, are you going through upgrades, releases, or both at the same time? Accelerated release is in the air for many, and it's a little like firing on all transformation cylinders at once. So historically, it tended to be that you would go through a period of releasing, and then you would become something new afterwards. The accelerator seems to have, someone's got their foot on the accelerator now, because for many of us, what you will be experiencing is simultaneous letting go, releasing. And on any given day, you might find yourself purging parts of your past, revisiting parts of your past, letting go of old patterns and behaviors, while simultaneously having something new come in, having a new pattern that you're building start to emerge. And it can be quite dizzying as an experience. It can make you feel disoriented. You're not quite sure where the ground is. This is why our personal practices are so important at the moment. So whatever it is that you do that connects you, or to the ground, or to feeling calm, any of these practices that you can employ are going to really help, because the speed of transformation, even for those of you who are seasoned to it, I've been into transformation and self-growth for 32 years now, 33 years, and still, even by my standards of being able to track this all these years, it's never been so fast. So there is also an acclimatization that we're all going through to the speed of change now. So it's not for the faint of heart, but it's also not something to just carry on with your life as if nothing is happening. It's really important to recognize, okay, these are very intense, energetic times. Yes, I can focus on the outside world looking intense, but how's my inner world doing? And when you stop and run that check, certain days you can be like, oh my God, wow, what the hell is going on here? So there's a lot of that energy flying around for people. When we become conscious of it, we can better manage it, and we can find ways to give ourselves oxygen. When we aren't managing it, or when we're unconscious of it, it can start bleeding out into our lives through behaviors, stress, all kinds of things that start going into the outer world and perhaps disrupting some of our life. But equally, you might be managing the outer world okay, but slowly dying on the inside. There's a part of you that feels like you can't breathe. So whatever it is that you personally are experiencing right now, as much as you can, allow yourself to acknowledge that it's happening, even if only you can see it. Even if to everyone else around you, you look normal or no one else seems to notice that you're going through this massive transformation. Acknowledge it and honor it. So honoring it means good self-care, taking care of yourself. Perhaps you're going to have to cancel a few things that you'd committed to because you feel overextended. Or the opposite could also be true. You might feel more alive yourself, enlivened, like you want to run out into the world and have a whole new experience with this new you. But be mindful that if you are someone who is going through this upgrade that is also a release at the same time, there will be days and there will be hours and there will be days where you maybe haven't quite got your energy for the outside world. So recognizing when it is that we're available and actually also recognizing when we shouldn't be available. Even if that non-availability is just 1 hour long, because that's all you can manage or that's all you can negotiate in your life. Taking that hour to just pull back, what it will do for many of us is we will quickly reset. But we'll only reset if we know to pull back and if we recognize that part of our energy that's both upgrading but also releasing a lot. It's a lot on the system, so it requires good self-care. Theme number 2, which in a way links to this, but it's a little more strategic. So the message they gave me was a lot of us right now are going through a personal reckoning, And this is pre-global shifts. So personal reckoning refers to reevaluating, in some cases, everything in your life. So some of you will be looking at huge areas of your life. Now, an area like health or relationship is usually big enough. But the message is that many of us will be looking at our whole lives, or at least many more areas of our lives than we previously have, because we're going through a re-evaluation of who we are, what we believe our place to be in this very fast-changing world, why we're here. It's across the board. So this can look like a few different things, but one of the keys is a breakdown of things that you previously enjoyed, cared about, you were engaged with. It's an ascension symptom as well. When you start to shift and change spiritually and you go through an awakening, things that you used to identify with, you no longer have that same identity. So you need new things. But it can be a very awkward transition. It's not usually as simple as, oh, yesterday I loved yoga and today I don't love yoga, so I'll go to breath work instead. It's usually there is a period in the middle that you go through that can feel very uncomfortable, where you don't quite know what the ground is anymore. You know you can't engage with other things. It's a necessary pulling you away from things that you previously knew to be true. So as we go through it, the human part of our mind can freak out a little bit. And I get it. I've been there and still will go through those moments myself when I go through them now. But the message is that you are supposed to be pulling away from certain things that no longer feel connected to you, and you will rebirth. So as radical as it can feel, this process is actually a rebirth. But you're just in the impregnation stage. There's no baby yet. You don't know what the nursery looks like, and you don't realize you're about to become a parent. All you're feeling right now is the loss of the old. So the personal reckoning is very important pre-global shifts. So as the world is going to change and continue to change, but it's going to go through some big changes in the next couple of years, many of us are in a phase of readying ourselves. And readying ourselves means intuitively feeling and knowing what's coming, and therefore getting ready for it, preparing for it. Not necessarily in a negative way either, or a fear-based way, simply a natural evolution. We just went through a big shift as a world in the last few months, and now you are in response to that and changing who you are, what you need, what you care about, and how you engage with things. It's very much to do with engagement. people that you engage with, things you engage with, passions of yours that you engage with. It's okay if you're feeling a little unengaged. That's part of the process. You will get re-engaged with new things just in time. So be patient with yourself. Theme number 3, light will feed you if you let it. Light will feed you if you let it. So many of you are already mastering this, living in a slower way, living in a more present way, living in a more connected way. So rehabilitating yourselves from the speed of the world. And I know, I was just talking to my doctor yesterday, who's a functional medicine doctor, and he was saying, wow, the speed of the world now. Everyone I'm talking to is a little overwhelmed by the bombardment of the speed of the world. And yet there are a whole group of people who are creating the slow living movement and the presence movement. And so a lot more of you will be pioneering this for others in your lives. You might look more peaceful and slow to them than they are in their life, but they need you. We need you. There will be a whole series of you who are pioneering that movement, but more and more of us will be coming into it in ourselves, like recognizing the need for slowness, presence, connected living, which our current system is not encouraging at all. So we're going to have to stand for it and become it. So light will feed you if you let it means, will you stop the train for long enough to reconnect to yourself? And this goes beyond personal practices and self-care practices. They're usually the first step. When you're overwhelmed because you haven't been taking care of yourself, you start putting things in like meditation, breath work. It may have no routine, but it might just be you putting an alarm on every day that between 1 p.m. and 1:30 p.m. you switch off your phone and you're just unavailable to the world and you have 30 minutes of silence. Whatever it looks like for you, creating those practices is the beginning. The practices initially soothe and repair you, but eventually they start to hint at a new way of life, and you start to bring that presence more into your everyday. So light will feed you if you let it. The message is we have to create space. We have to recognize the importance of these things. So, theme number 4. Exhausted by and releasing old energy. Exhausted by and releasing old energy. This relates to grief, anger, despair, possibly sadness too. So many of you may have focused at the outside world for this in the last month or so. You may have gone through enormous grief waves, enormous feelings of despair, anger, sadness, injustice. This release is necessary. It may feel very hard at the time you're going through it and unfair and like something that you're a victim of, but your future needs you to get this out of your system. Your future needs you to get this out of your system. So try and remember it that way. When you find yourself in a process where it's intense or it's emotional or you feel like you're purging, your future is what's encouraging you to do this, so that you don't take it with you and so that you don't carry it with you. We're dealing with the release of old energy in the world, and it's slow and it's dramatic, and there's a fight around it in the world at large. So we have to look at ourselves and go, okay, how much am I fighting? I shared with my portal community last month that for me, I always start my breakthrough when I stop fighting what's happening. But often on my first day of like a big release hitting me or something, I can think, hang on a second, I haven't got time for this. There's things I've got to do, or, this is inconvenient to me. And then I always remember, relax, it's happening. You can't fight it. And as soon as I shift, then the whole thing starts to change. So you might be exhausted by this process, but you are releasing it. So exhausted by and releasing old energy. Yes, you may have focused this on the outside world, but right now, you might be circling a really old story that you're so bored of that you go round and round in your life and it feels really heavy and because layers are coming off. That's how healing works. And at the moment, a lot of people are being dragged fast through that so that your future can be clear of some of this old stuff. Theme number 5, rising into the new in yourself. Rising into the new in yourself. So this very much fits with several of the other themes. The new can look like the unknown, the unfamiliar, and the energized. So the unknown, the unfamiliar, and the energized. You'll know you're in new things when things aren't known to you and aren't familiar, but also look out for the energized. So the energized can often show up as nervousness or anxiousness, or that's how we interpret it. So for example, things like stage fright, or if you're about to do karaoke or stand up and give a speech at someone's dinner or wedding or whatever it is you have to do, we often get that feeling of adrenaline, and it feels like nerves and it feels like fear, but there's also excitement in stage fright. Underneath, if you really let that feeling in, there's a crackle of energy of you're about to do something new, you're about to do something bold. So look out for that feeling this month as well, and of course beyond this month. But in December, there will be opportunities for you to experience yourself as new, to experience an energy that you haven't quite experienced before. Will you allow yourself to walk into it and be here for it, or will you hide from it and pull away because it's unfamiliar? Because sometimes both can be true. We're here for it, but we also want to hide from it. But remember that the unknown and the unfamiliar, they can't be measured, qualified, or quantified. The mind is always tracking the past. It has reference of everything that's happened, and it tries to keep us safe by pulling up those files. Well, if this is something new, we tend to feel a little more like, ooh, don't quite know how to operate here. That's actually what you're looking for. There's nothing to be afraid of in that, unless you're about to do something very dramatic, in which case maybe dial it back and try something smaller first. But are you energized? Are you feeling that crackle of new energy? Because that will come and find more of you in December, certainly than you've experienced in the last 3 or 4 months. And it makes sense, because when you release a lot, you become something new, and there has been a lot of release going on lately. Number 6, this is the same theme in a way, but it relates more to the outside world. And I've mentioned this in past energy updates. 2025 is the birth of new energy rising. So many years ago, and they've maintained this, the Z's have said that from 2020, the Z's are my guides for those of you who are new to me. They have said that from 2025 onwards, we will see more evidence of new ways of being in the world. Even if there's still a fight going on in certain areas or certain groups, we will see an increasing amount of evidence of new ways of being and living on Earth. We will start to see more of them. They will start to take their place more, and it will be a slow increase over the years as we move towards that becoming more normal. So what that means is you. Or us. More and more of you and us will be taking our place now and creating our new future. So you might be creating a very personal new future for yourself. Doing something with people you love or your family, or redefining how you live with your friends, whatever it looks like. But many of you are here to also be a way shower and to lead. So 2025 onwards, human evolution, not just technological evolution, human evolution will be visible. And of course, humans and technology are interacting a lot more than ever before, but this is about human consciousness evolution, conscious ways of being on the planet that are separate to technological advances. They may work with them, but they are consciousness-led, not technology-led. So it's going to be very interesting to see that play out, but many of you might be really getting yourselves ready for the biggest year of your life in terms of what you have contributed to the world. And again, what you contribute to the world, you might be someone who hundreds of thousands of people know. You might be someone who 10 people are highly impacted by. The numbers don't matter. Some of us are built for scale, some aren't, but it's all the same job. We're all doing the same consciousness seeding and learning with each other and sharing. We're all offering consciousness to each other and receiving it as we go. So 2025, birth of new energy rising, which also explains all of the other themes and why there's this big push at the end of the year for so many of us energetically. Theme number 7, people have the power. You may need to remind them of this. People have the power. You may need to remind them of this. So we're at the end of a long period of human power oppression. So we're going into a new cycle as a planet where the oppression of people is both becoming more obvious than many have ever seen, but it's also coming to an end. That's why it's becoming more obvious. And of course, we know there are many people doubling down on that. So it's not an easy time to be alive when it comes to oppression, but we as people have to drive change. That's the message. So we, the people, have more power than our current power system might want us to believe or lead us to believe. But it is going to be the shifts that people create in the coming years that are going to permeate. So you might feel like a minority in this belief, and that may be true. You may be in a minority group, but the message is that sharing yourself is how you spread your message and how you get to see the world that you want to see. So we can quietly sit there and grumble about what we're not seeing in the world and that we wish there was more of, or we can, next time someone asks us about a topic that we have quite passionate opinions about, not overbearing opinions, hopefully, on that person, but passionate, we might actually choose to tell them what we really think, rather than dumb it down for the status quo or assume they don't really want to hear that. Well, if you have something inside you that feels very true and you have an opportunity to share it with someone, you never know how you might not necessarily change their mind, because you don't know that they're ever going to fully agree with you, but you might open their mind. And so there is this ongoing message that we've talked about for years of show up and see what happens. People are more surprisingly willing to change than you might believe. And doesn't mean they have to change who they are. They're probably just more open to you than you perhaps believe. And if you're sitting there going, oh, Lee, no one's open to me, then I say, okay, then you're with the wrong group. It's time for you to go, wow, I'm running some real patterns in all the people I keep choosing. And I now need to give myself people where I'm as valued as I value them, or they give to me the way I give to them. You may need to look at that if that's your story. But for many of us, it's remembering people do have the power. It starts with us, and we can all share it with each other and influence each other. And this is that time more than ever before. And it's going to carry on for the years to come. But boy, oh boy, you are needed. And now is your time more than ever before. So that's an action call for us. And theme number 8. What really matters in a fast-paced world. What really matters in a fast-paced world. Your presence, your heart, and your connection to life. Your presence, your heart, and your connection to life. How's your heart doing today on a scale of 1 to 10? 10's high, 1's not very present. How present is your heart on a scale of 1 to 10 right now in this moment? Now, whatever your number is that good enough? Are you happy with that? Is that pleasing, or is that very disappointing and alarming? If you got like a 2 or a 3 and you're like, ooh, wow, that's not great, is it? Well, okay, what connects your heart? And you might go, okay, well, my best friend, and painting or gardening, or start doing more of those things, because our presence, our heart, and our connection is going to be such a valuable, vital currency in the years to come. So how are you achieving or practicing with these areas? What really matters in our fast-paced world is our presence, our heart, and our connection to life. And then my final words, which will be on the written bullet points underneath, is when the world no longer makes sense, presence, heart, and connection to life will make sense. I think many over recent weeks and months and years have kind of looked at the world and gone, what is this? Well, we feel most alive, most connected when we have some presence, some connection to life, and some heart in our world. And so if you aren't finding enough of that, make that your priority this month. Make it your priority to find it. Maybe you want to offer it to other people. Make it your priority to give it to yourself. Because as we know, when we fill up on that, we emanate it out. So with all of that said, I hope you are doing well. I know everyone's in different places. I know there are many challenges, but I hope you are able to stabilize some level of presence for yourself, especially on this month. I know not everybody celebrates Christmas, but I know traditionally December can be a crazy month simply because of the pressure of Christmas that many people feel. So I hope this month you can really take some time out for you. We are releasing a brand new music album on December the 6th. It's called Medicine Mantras Volume 2. Devor and I have loved making these mantras for you. And so we're delighted to be giving you another one. It will be available on all streaming platforms. We also have special CDs, and we made some beautiful journals with our designer that have affirmations on. So you can find all of that at leeharrismusic.com. As I said earlier, the Big Love Tour is coming to Europe, London, Dublin, Amsterdam, Berlin, Stockholm. And then we're doing 6 dates in Australia and Auckland, New Zealand too. That's coming up in April, so look out for that. We have also just put on sale Soul Magic, which is my annual retreat, a week of energy mastery with me, Devor, and my team. That's next July, also available at my events page, and we have very limited space for that. And lastly, if you can join us for Weekend with Lee, Aziz and Devor on December 7th and 8th, we'd love to see you there. And of course, my members community is the portal where every month I'm going live with my members and offering many different tools to help uplift you, support you, and inspire you. So thank you for being here with me. And I hope you have a wonderful December and lots of love. January 2025, we are bringing our Big Love Tour to the UK and to Europe, and we can't wait. We just took it across North America this summer. We had an incredible time, and I know that January can be a month where we often need an infusion of light and love. January 3rd to the 12th, we will be bringing the tour to Dublin, Berlin, Amsterdam, Stockholm, and London. It's a variety experience, so I intuitively teach. In every city, there is a different unique theme for each group who show up. I also take questions, we do music. Devor comes with me. It's a real celebration, and it can have very deep moments, and people can have epiphanies and clarity. And then also people reported they felt so much joy, and we laugh together, and we get to be together as a group. We hope you'll join us for the Big Love Tour. We can't wait to be with you.